One of the greatest gifts that God has blessed the entire human race with is the gift of time. And what you do with your time determines to a large extent how far you go in life. Oh, yeah. There are 4 seasons in a man's life. There is the morning season, the afternoon season, the evening season, and the night season. But eventually you missed it in your morning season. In your afternoon season, you are able to correct whatever mistake you made in the morning season. But you know what? It becomes much more difficult to correct every error you made in your morning and afternoon season when you get to your evening season, because you are gradually winding up. That is to say, if you ever get there. And in your night season, it is pretty difficult to correct every or whatever error you made in your morning season, in your afternoon season, or in your evening season. That is the end of life. All right? And you've got to be careful what you do, particularly when you're in your morning season as a teenager, in the afternoon season as a youth. As a teenager, you've got to be careful of the kind of company you keep. And as a youth, most especially, you've got to be careful of the kind of company you keep, the kind of places you go, and the kind of things you allow into your mind, the kind of information you expose yourself to, and the kind of things that you are allowed to feed your mind. This message is typically for the youth, all right, for the young adults, and both the males and the females. A lot of old men and old women today, they are regretting their lives as a result of how they wasted their youthfulness, how they didn't listen to voice of reasoning, how they didn't, apply wisdom in life. Now they are regretting it. They are eating the bread of sorrow. There are some ladies today who practically feel that, age is no longer on their side. They look so beautiful, so pretty, and they are in their 50s, some are in their late 40s. They are finding it very difficult to settle down. Some of these people, not all anyway, but majority of some of those ladies are ladies who were in their early youth. They were shining. They were the rave of the moment. Majority of them jettisoned, suitors who were willing and ready to, marry them, as it were then, because they were still very much, in vogue. They were beautiful. They were in the eye of almost every man that came across their way. And as time began to go, the traffic of men that were in their roots began to reduce. And probably they felt they still had a time. And that was how they began to mark time and mark time and mark time. And no man is approaching them today because they are already either in their early 40s or late 30s or over 40 years old of age. Now they are regretting it. You know what I'm talking about. You watching me. So if you have passed that age and you knew how you lived your life, sometimes you console yourself by some people you see who lived their lives anyhow, and yet they were able to settle down with some of the best guys. Say, what about that girl? What about the other girl? What about Angela? What about Sarah? What about XYZ? They lived righteous living, and at the end of the day, they were lucky enough to settle down with the best of guys. Come on. It is not all true with everybody. So majority of the ladies that are regretting their lives today, are those ladies who wasted their youthfulness. And ladies are not the only one regretting this today. There are some men also who have wasted their youthfulness, and today they are regretting it, because you cannot turn back the hands of time. Whatever situation you find yourself today is probably as a result of the life that you lived years back, the life you lived while you were in your youth. Some of us took advantage of our youthfulness. It is not by power, it is not by strength, but you have a role to play to ensure that you have yourself a bright future. Because whatsoever you sow is what you will reap. If you sow chastity, you will reap it in the future. If you choose hard work, if you choose to settle down and learn when you're supposed to learn, you will reap it in due season. Now, a child that is born, when it is time for that child to start saying, Papa, Papa, or Mama, 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 and if it doesn't do that, if the child doesn't do that, it becomes much more difficult when the time is up. That's why when we give birth to newborn children, we pray to God that when it is time for you to talk like a normal child, you will talk. When it's time for you to walk as a normal child, may you walk. When it is time for you to have wisdom, as a normal child will, may you have wisdom. So when you don't do things right, the time that you're supposed to do them, you will regret it later on. So in order for you to avoid the mistakes of others who have gone ahead of you, I'm talking to you, young man and young woman, you better take this into your head. Do not get carried away by the way men are praising you, by the way people kind of commend you, by the way people kind of tell you how beautiful you are. Don't get carried away, because majority of them who have gone ahead of you got carried away by all those praises. All right. Men will sing your praises. Men will tell you how beautiful you are. Trust me, majority of them are after your waist. All right. So do not waste your youthfulness. Put on your thinking cap. That's the best time for you to sit down and think about your future. That's the best time for you to sit down and think about your life. What do you want to become? Because your plans about your future doesn't happen overnight. It takes a process of time. It takes a season. Many years ago, I looked at my father's life and my mother's life, and their family, my uncles and my aunties. Then I began to realize some certain negative traits in their life. Then I began to talk to myself, and I said, these negative traits, this negative stuff that I found in my family must not, these negative histories must not play back in my life, must not happen in my life. All right, I took a decision. It's not enough for you to take a decision. You've got to do something about it. There are some stuff that you're going through in life that is highly spiritual. When you are young, that is the time to deal with some of this nonsense. Do not wait until you get old. All right, because there are ancient problems that we came to meet in our lives, in our family lineage. So as a young man or as a young woman, you've got to deal with those things. All right. Some people keep making mistakes upon mistakes. It is not really their fault. Sometimes they sit down and they, just look at themselves. Oh, I didn't want to do this, but at the end of the day, I found myself doing what I didn't want to do initially. All right. There are some forces that keep pushing some people to make errors, to do things that they ought not to be doing. Some ladies have spirit husband. Some people don't subscribe to that. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in spirit husband. They don't believe in spirit wives. It happens. In the realm of the marine kingdom, there's a lot of things that are happening in that realm. So, all right. So once you're able to notice some certain things that is not normal around your life, as a young woman and as a young man, you've got to do something to deal with it. If the problem you fail to deal with now is waiting for you in the future, it may not be too late for you to realize those problems. May not be too late for you to realize that, hey, you just wasted your time. All right. So that also happened to me. I've worked in different places before I got to this point. Any place I found myself many years ago, any job I found myself many years ago, I know if I have a future on that job or not. Because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. Some people called me stubborn. I'm going to be stubborn to you. That's your interpretation. This is my life. This is about my future. Because I've looked at my father's life. I looked at my mother's life. I've looked at both family, wonderful family that I came from. But they had challenges. And there was a particular challenge that was prevalent in my family lineage. And I needed to break those things. I needed to distinguish myself and cut up myself from those things. It took prayers, it took fasting and prayers, it took dedication, it took knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and wisdom for me to be able to break out. Even up to tomorrow, I'm still battling with some certain stuff. That's got to do with the family lineage. So as a young man and as a young woman, you've got to put your thinking cap on and think about these things. The future you dream of is not going to fall on your lap because you just dreamt of it, because you just wished for it. No, your parents wished for a beautiful life and a beautiful future, but the majority of them never partook of that future. They never saw that future. The future only, that beautiful future that they painted only existed in their mind, and it never came to reality. For that beautiful future to come to reality, for that beautiful marriage, that beautiful children that you have dreamt of, that you have envisaged, that you have fancied in your subconsciousness to come to reality, you've got to pray it out. There's a place of prayer. There's a place of dedication to duty. There's a place of building up your character. There's a place of preparation. Champions, like you all know, are not made in the ring. Champions do not become champions in the ring, but they become champions in the training ground. There is a process to that colorful future that you have dreamt of, that you have prayed about. There's a place of prayer. There's a place of preparation, and there's a place of, you being dutiful, giving attention, paying attention to details. You've got to build your character. Do not waste your time, young man. Do not waste your time, young woman. And a lot of people who did are eating the bread of sorrows today. A lot of people who did are regretting it today. Do not find yourself in that quagmire. Just a piece of advice I want to give to someone out there, particularly the younger generation. I wish I was still in my 20s. There's some mistakes I made then that I would never make, that I have never, that I would not have made. All right, so, but I didn't make a lot of mistakes though, but there were still a few mistakes that I made. So if I had the knowledge that I have now, in my 40s now going to 50, if I had the knowledge that I have now, back then, I wouldn't have made those mistakes. Now listen to me, you do not pray to experience, like they say, experience is the best teacher. It's not everything you should pray to experience. There are some things in life, when you experience them, you may not live to tell the story. The best way to live in life and to make it fast, in life, is by instruction. It's by listening to instruction. It's by listening to those who have gone far ahead of you. It's to learn from the mistakes of those who have gone far ahead of you, so that you don't fall into the pit holes that they fell into. All right? So there are books you must consume, you must read. Dedicate yourself to studying. Make research. Read about the future. Look at your father's lineage. Look at your mother's lineage. If there are some things that you do not like, when you realize that your generational history is not in conformity with your future, you can rewrite your story. You can rewrite your history. You can rewrite your destiny. Life must not continue like this. Some of you are suffering what you are suffering today as a result of negligence. You saw these problems in your family. You saw this problem in your mother's life and in your father's life, and you just felt that life is like that. That you came to your, you came to life on your own. You can, show that no, it doesn't work like that, sweetheart. You've got to sit up. You've got to fight it headlong, so that evil occurrences will not repeat itself in your life. But again, there are some certain things that the Lord will have you experience. No matter what, God will want you to experience it so that you will have a first-hand information and learn from it. All right, when God allows you to experience certain things in life, it's not to kill you, it's not to destroy you, but it is to strengthen you. I hope this makes sense. Young men, young women, do not waste your time. Time is precious. It is the currency of life. And God has gifted every one of us the gift of time. And how you use it matters a lot. I hope this makes sense. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.